There's a book behind me here on the shelf. It's called Who Took My Money? Now, I just went out and shelled out on a crazy subscription to Seeking Alpha, even though I think half of their writers are brain dead, just to share with you this article about a person who, well, might be saying soon, who took my money? Here is the title. Lucid Motors. I've just invested half of my net worth in this EV stock. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. You are watching the Electric Viking, and my name is Sam Evans. Fantastic to have you here. Welcome to all the new subscribers. There's been a few thousand new subscribers over the last couple of days. Thank you to Sandy Munro for his plug of the channel. Really appreciate you going out of your way to say that about the channel, to recommend people come here. It's been wonderful to see all these new subscribers. Now, if you are new, remember, there is more than 620 videos we've created over the last 6 months. If you want to know what's going on in the EV industry, you can't just watch one video. You've got to watch a few more than that. I'll put some links in the description below, but make sure you check out some of those videos. A lot is happening globally. A lot is happening outside of America. A lot's happening in China. The Chinese EV market is by far the biggest EV market in the world. The Chinese car market is the biggest car market in the world. And if you want to know what's really going to happen, well, you need to know what's going on over there. So for me, the article starts off in a pretty bad way. It doesn't disclose the author, but apparently the author is invested somehow in Lucid stock. They don't disclose how. They say it could be through this, it could be through that, it could be through long options, it could be through random ways. Anyway, personally, I think disclosure is better. Say who you are, back up your words. Anyway, Seeking Alpha reports that Lucid Motors is the most promising EV stock in the United States. And the startup, in my opinion, is giving investors a run for their money. The market for zero-emission vehicles in the United States is poised for takeoff. I agree with that. And Lucid Motors is precisely in the right place at the right time. The market for EV names is thriving. Lucid Motors is not a stock for widows or orphans. I'm not sure what that means, but anyway, since its initial public offering in 2021, the EV company stock has been zigzagging and volatility is likely to remain the name of the game. I agree, you've got to have balls of steel to invest in a company like Tesla and Lucid all over the place. It's hard to deal with unless you can just invest and hold for the long run. That's what I recommend. If you're not doing that, you're basically just gambling. The stock skyrocketed after shareholders approved Lucid Motors' merger with special purpose acquisition company SPAC Churchill Capital IV in February, only to give up the majority of its gains in the months that followed. After the company announced the start of customer deliveries in October, the stock began to skyrocket once again. Lucid Motors stock has extremely high volatility, which is a risk in and of itself. Risk warning: before we continue, a word about risk is in order. EV stocks have proven to be volatile and will continue to be so. Simple announcements from the company or analysts can have a significant impact on Lucid Motors stock price. Furthermore, Lucid Motors is not a large automaker like Mercedes, Renault, or General Motors. Not sure why they mentioned Mercedes or Renault, but anyway. Lucid Motors is a startup with no revenue yet and a high level of cash burn because it finances the production of its electric vehicles in-house rather than outsourcing this part of the manufacturing process to contractors. That paragraph made absolutely zero sense. Anyway, the electric vehicle is the future of the automotive industry. Absolutely. I believe by 2030, at least minimum 95% of the entire automotive industry will be electric cars only. EV stocks are all the rage these days, owing to the potential for exponential revenue growth in a market that is still in its infancy. China has the lead in terms of selling zero-emission vehicles, and the United States is very far behind. Yes, I've pointed that out a few times. However, things are changing, and the rate of transformation is likely to accelerate as green energy policies become law in the United States. Specifically, the recently passed infrastructure bill in Congress, substantial federal subsidies for the purchase of an electric vehicle are included in the $1.75 billion Build Back Better Act. Subsidies can be as high as $12,500 per electric vehicle, and they are certain to boost electric vehicle adoption in the United States, a market that is still underserved in terms of adoption. Well, I believe that's true, but at the same time, it's important that manufacturers actually have the capacity to sell more cars. Of course, popularity, as we can see right now, is simply increasing the price of Tesla vehicles. Tesla has huge demand, they just keep on increasing prices. What we really need is more cars being built. Only 3.6% of all vehicle sales in the United States were electric vehicles in the second quarter of 2021, leaving significant room for growth in one of the world's largest car markets. Between the second quarter of 2020 and the second quarter of 2021, The absolute number of electric vehicle sales tripled, while the share of electric vehicle sales doubled. Nonetheless, the electric vehicle penetration rate in the United States is extremely low, and Lucid Motors will play an important role in serving this market. Now, the US is pushing harder for widespread adoption of electric vehicles. The Biden administration has communicated its ambitious goal of increasing the share of electric vehicle sales to 50% by 2030. Now, this is not even remotely ambitious. Why this author would suggest this is ambitious, considering, countries like Europe and China will be 100% electric by then. I don't know. I think maybe he or she doesn't have a full understanding of the global automotive car industry. And I think to invest in the industry, you probably want to have a full understanding first. That's why I recommend you check out some of my other videos. Lucid Motors benefits fundamentally from changing legal frameworks that incentivize the purchase of electric vehicles over those powered by fossil fuels. Now, while that is true, that could change at any moment. Subsidies could end, so that if that's part of your business model, then you need to be able to deal with it when that ends. Catalyst for Lucid Motors. In October, Lucid Motors started deliveries of its Lucid Air, a high-performance luxury vehicle with a 520-mile EPA rating. That is very impressive range. The announcement ignited Lucid Motors stock, owing largely to the company's demonstration that it can produce a competitive electric vehicle. Now, I actually made a video on Lucid Motors winning Motor Trend Car of the Year, which is unreal. Awesome. Obviously, Tesla won the same award, I think, back in 2013 with the Model S. Now it seems Lucid is doing the same. Very impressive, and it's really good marketing for EVs in America too. Lucid Motors assembles the Lucid Air and its variants at its Arizona manufacturing facility. This sets Lucid Motors apart from a number of other electric vehicle companies, the majority of which rely on contract manufacturers to handle the complex work of managing, networking, capital, and mass-producing electric vehicles. Now, there's no explanation of who those other companies are that are relying on other companies to build their electric cars for them. There's one that I know of, NIO does do that, but other than that, there's not many that do that. Lucid Motors only began deliveries a few weeks ago, but the company is already hard at work on another product, the Gravity SUV. While the Lucid Air is an all-electric luxury sedan, the Gravity is a sport utility vehicle with cutting-edge technology that is set to hit the market in 2023. The Lucid Gravity may not yet be available, but it certainly adds some fantasy to Lucid Motors stock. It does add some fantasy. There's a lot of fantasy going on with Lucid Motors stock price right now. Potential for $10 billion in sales by 2025. The financials don't look promising right now, but that will change once Lucid Motors enters mass production and delivers a larger number of sedans and SUVs. Lucid Motors has a good chance of producing 100,000 electric vehicles per year by 2025. Personally, I think there's zero chance of that. But anyway, assuming that production delays do not derail the company's production schedule. Using a $100,000 average sale price, Lucid Motors has the potential to generate $10 billion in annual sales by 2025. So, apparently, according to this author, Lucid Motors are going to produce 100,000 vehicles in 2025, all of them with an average sale price of $100,000 US. Is that realistic? Have a think about that. Do you think that's realistic? Let me know in the comment section below if you think that is realistic. Lucid Motors has a potential to generate $10 billion in sales by 2025 by selling 100,000 electric vehicles that cost an average sale price of $100,000 US. The Lucid Air Pure has a starting price of $77,400, but higher tier models become increasingly expensive. The Air Grand Touring starts at $140,000 US, while the Air Dream Edition starts at $170,000 US. As a result, the average sales price should be significantly higher than $77,000. Oh, that is true, but the likelihood that there's going to be 100,000 buyers willing to pay $100,000 US for an electric vehicle, in my view, is pure fantasy. I think it's highly unlikely. Have a look at the Tesla Model S sales, Model X sales. I think they'll give you a good idea of just how many buyers there are out there for vehicles costing $100,000 US. Now, Lucid Motors had 17,000 reservations for its first electric vehicle on the books, which is quite impressive for an EV company with no prior models and a sign of things to come. But to give you context, Rivian has, I think, about 56,000 pre-orders. GM, so they have 62,500 pre-orders for the Hummer. Ford, so they have more than 200,000 pre-orders for the Ford F-150 electric pickup. And Tesla have more than 1.3 million pre-orders for the Cybertruck. In addition to that, a range of different Chinese companies have, well, for example, BYD right now has 40,000 pre-orders ongoing, even though they're manufacturing huge numbers of cars every month. There's a huge amount of demand for electric vehicles. It's great to have 17,500 pre-orders. That's fantastic, though. In the short term, the losses will be staggering, especially since Lucid Motors manufactures its own vehicles. Losses are expected to exceed $1 billion per year for the next 2 years. That's not too bad. I see that as an investment personally, but should gradually decline in the years following, particularly after the Gravity SUV goes into production. Conclusion: Lucid Motors stock has been on a tear recently, and for good reason. The start of deliveries is a significant accomplishment for Lucid Motors, demonstrating to investors that the company and its executives can deliver results. Lucid Motors, in my opinion, is an EV company with $10 billion in annual sales potential by 2025. Most exciting EV stock to own in a market where electric vehicle adoption should gradually increase this decade. Well, it won't gradually increase. It's increasing exponentially right now, and that'll continue to happen. Having said that, expect Lucid Motors stock to zigzag from time to time and to remain volatile. This should not bother you if you, like me, invest for the long term. Now, personally, I actually do think Lucid Motors will sell 100,000 electric vehicles in 2030, not 2025, and nowhere near at a cost of $100,000 per car. They know that they're going to have to reduce those costs a little bit to get more buyers of the brand. Obviously, competition from other car makers will increase, will come into the market, and at which point it will become harder for Lucid Motors to compete unless they have efficient manufacturing facilities available. It has to be robotics, has to be the level where, bordering on what you're seeing from Mercedes, BMW, Tesla, where you have big, efficient production lines. Obviously, Tesla's production lines are now quite a bit more efficient than, the aforementioned names, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen. But it has to be at that level. And if it's not, then Lucid will definitely struggle. Industry margins are 8 to 10%. I keep saying this. Margins for Tesla are 30%. What are Lucid's margins? We need to know that information. Personally, I believe if you invest in Lucid right now, and I actually have, I invested $10 a few days ago. It's now worth 9. So if I had invested half of my net worth, I would have lost 10% of that net worth, and I'd have to focus on the long term. Personally, I don't think Lucid Motors stock the stock price, I don't think that is justified by them selling 100,000 cars in 2025, which is not going to happen. But if they do, it still doesn't justify the stock price currently, giving them a valuation of $90 billion. Even if they sell 200,000 electric cars in 2030, which to me is a pipe dream if they're going to cost $100,000 each. But even if they do, that still doesn't justify the current stock price today. So my warning is to you, when you invest in a company, you have to at some point consider fundamentals. Of course, Tesla's stock price is high, right? But if you compare Tesla's stock price to the stock price of Lucid, it's actually low based on their current production numbers, their profit, the fundamentals of the company. Personally, I would steer well clear of Lucid Motors. That's my warning to you. I'm just trying to help you out here. That said, all of that said, I want them to succeed. Absolutely want them to succeed, and I project they will be successful, but just not enough success to justify this insane current price that they're at. If you want to invest in this company, I wouldn't be doing that now. That's my warning. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Looking forward to seeing you again on the next one. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.